Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, and tonight I have Andy Mabs with me. How are you, Mabsy?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Good, thanks, Mabsy. Have you paid your electric bill?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on my. I can't find my iPad, so I'm on my Galaxy tab. I don't know
Is
what's
there
wrong.
any light in there? You got the light on?
Yeah. Well, just you want to just start, and I'll just try and figure this out.
So today on this show, about the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about Everton versus Leeds United. The Toffees play the Yorkshire club on Saturday, the 12th of February at 3 p.m. kickoff at Goodison Park. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at we're going to briefly look back on the Newcastle game first, without dwelling on that too much. Mabsy, one to forget, and are there any positive things we can bring in from that fixture into the Leeds game? Is there anything whatsoever?
No, I think we just move on, and we go again now. That's it. We've got to go again, and just chalk it down to a bad day in the office. And you've got to realise that Newcastle had their new players all together. It was going to be. Someone compared it to like our Brentford. Yeah, you know what I mean. They were all up for it and stuff like that. And I don't think there's anything we can take from it. Just wipe our faces and go again.
Do you think Lampard's got to reshape things up now, moving forward, looking at the team, and also with regards to the formation? Do you think he's going to look at making a change now for that?
The game? He had. I mean, at the end of the day, Lampard was on hiding to nothing because you can't change really a winning team, can you?
Mm.
And that's effectively sometimes. And so at the end of the day, I think it is what it is. I really do think that the injuries messed everything up, messed the game plan up, because too early injuries to those two, you're forcing the substitutions. You've got one left. You can't mix it up, really, can you?
Thanks, Babs. Moving on to the Leeds game then. Of course, don't know whether you saw Leeds versus Aston Villa yesterday, and 3-1 to Aston Villa, and it was really self-suicide on the pitch. Leeds getting themselves back into it, a goal from a set piece, and yeah, I mean, part of me was happy Steven Gerrard conceded two and didn't get the win, but Leeds picking up a point, Burnley picking up a point, and Norwich picking up a point. It really wasn't an ideal game week at all.
No, and the shite winning, but at the end of the day, I worry about Leeds now because they've got the determination to come back here.
I mean, I'm going to talk it a little bit in depth in a moment about that. Just give me one moment, please. Sorry about that. It's why the beauty of live streams. So talking about Leeds themselves as a team, from what I saw, very, very dynamic, very, very fluid, a lot of pace in the attacking positions. Defensively vulnerable, but I think that's through nature of the way they play. Would you disagree with any of that? Would you say that's a fair assessment? No, a very fluid offensive side?
They are, but Bielsa has one way to play and one way only. So if you can figure that one out, you know what's going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and look at Leeds as well. They're in the mix for relegation, you'd say. They're a few points ahead of us at the moment. Obviously, a massive drop-off in quality in terms of results, from last season. without really changing much of the side. Obviously, they brought in Daniel James, the very quick, speedy Welsh winger from Man United. So they're very similar to last season. And unfortunately, I think that was the team that beat us at Goodison and really played us off the park under Ancelotti. And it was a very, very difficult game. And I look at this, the formation and the style of play that they have and the way they're able to move the ball fast through the lines, very quick in transition and very, very pacey wingers with good movement up front. And I think offensively Leeds are very strong. So that's the concern. And I look at Everton's defence and I think with Yerry Mina out, Ben Godfrey out, and look at who's available. And it's the Cuckoo Clowns, you know, Mason Holgate and Michael Keane, who've been out of their depth for 5 seasons now. You know, we're not talking about players that are in a bad patch. They are genuinely being poor for the best part of 5 years. So
yeah,
I look at our defense and I think, I mean, Everton Rose, a friend of mine's come in straight. I have no faith in the defense. I mean, she's spot on. There's no sort of thing, you know, that is a redeeming feature of that back line at the moment. And I concerned obviously with Mikalenko potentially being out. Who plays left back? That's another issue. And then when I look at the two things, and obviously when I'm putting together my notes for this preview, I actually think Lampard will continue with a back 5. And I think the reason is because you look at Rafinha, you look at Daniel James, and really you want to have someone go out to meet the winger wide and still have the cover in behind. And I think that's what having the sided centre-backs does. So, for example, Mabsy, let me explain. Let's say Rafinha's on the left. He's very, very tricky to play against. In a flat back 4, it's a 1v1, fullback versus Rafinha. So, you know, if he beats him, your centre-back's dragged out, and then there's one central defender in the box, and you just really, really worry. I think with a 5 at the back, your wing-back can meet, and then you can shift the other 4 defenders across, and you've still got that protection there. And a way I would potentially approach that would be Patterson right wing-back, because he's got enough about him going forward to control the flank, and then he can go out and meet the winger. He's got enough athleticism to keep up with it with a player like Rafinha, I think. And then you still have Coleman like a right-sided centre-back there who can come across. And I genuinely think it will be that. I'm saying this now. I think it'll be Seamus Coleman right centre-back, Mason Holgate left centre-back, and Michael Keane in the middle. And I think you'll see Patterson or John Joe Kenny in the full-back positions, because I just think it's difficult again to change the formation so soon. I think Leeds are going to be very good on the counter-attack. So that's just one concept, one thought I had about a reason for the back 5. Now, I know a lot of people will be chomping at the bit to see Van der Beek start and Dele Alli start. Personally, I wouldn't go with Dele Alli. I didn't see much against Newcastle, and I think he needs a few appearances off the bench to get up to speed. Van der Beek, on the other hand, I think the extra man in midfield, if he does go with a 4-3-3, help us control the ball. I think ultimately, if we do control possession and control the ball and dictate the game, we can restrict those Leeds counter-attacking moments rather than, you know, having maybe 5 defenders getting pinned back because their fullbacks are very high and their wingers are very high. So potentially bringing Donny van der Beek if he goes to the 3. Again, Coleman in that instance probably plays at right back. But Mabsy, in terms of that team news and selection, we're anticipating it'll be very much unchanged in terms of personnel. Mina won't be back. I do think we'll see Damari Gray involved. I don't think we'll see Mina. Obviously, no Decore. Obviously, no Ben Godfrey. With that in mind, with the way Leeds play and from what I've said there, how would you approach this formation-wise? And would you make any changes in terms of the starting lineup?
No, I think we keep the starting lineup as it was. To be fair, part of the force change to Mina. I don't know. Obviously, he's not. There's a press conference tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a press conference
because obviously we don't know where Gray is, if he's going to be back or what. But I think you keep. I think you keep what he put out at Newcastle. Honestly, I think the 4-3-3, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I think it's the way to do it, when to approach it. But he put 5 at the back, didn't he? But Newcastle.
He did do 5 at the back.
Yeah.
Townsend left wing back. I mean, that was an experiment that didn't go too well, potentially with it being an away game. And I think maybe at home, Townsend, the idea behind that is the wing backs are very, very high up the pitch and aren't really defenders. They're midfielders. If done correctly, he shouldn't, in theory, have too much defending to do, and he should be another body. He's basically playing left midfield. So in theory, this back 5, though, Mabsy, if you've got Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate either side of Yerry Mina, that could work. And then Patterson and Mikolenko. I mean, that to me sounds good, but we haven't got the personnel. And I think
that's the issue.
You just have to go with your best players. And ultimately, that's not going to be defenders. That's going to be more midfielders, I'd imagine.
Well, I think it's going to be an attacking game anyway. Leeds are a very attack-minded team. So, do you counter that and go, well, let's go out attack as well? Who knows?
Obviously, this is a direct competitor at the moment, and I know it's really. I can't believe, in fairness,
one of those must-wins that we keep banging on about, like Newcastle.
All must-wins, Mabsy.
True.
I know some are more must-win than others, but yeah, they are. They do seem to be all must-wins. You've got 17 cup finals. We've got 2 games in hand. Results yesterday were disastrous for us. They could have been worse, but they weren't good at all. And say again?
3 games in hand.
We've got 2 or 3 games in hand on some of them. I think we could potentially drag Brentford in and some others.
Well,
but
Newcastle, Leicester, and Burnley. They're the games in hand that we have.
The thing that concerns me is we're dropping points against our rivals. There's nothing to say that we'll beat Leeds on Saturday. We've lost to Watford. We've lost to.
You've got to win your home games, as you were saying on the space. You've got to. But some of them are not winnable. I hate to say it, like the City game after the game after.
But they not games to just get everyone behind the ball and try and play for a point. Really, I mean, this is the thing that annoys us. We're not even doing what Sam Allardyce did in some of these games and just grinding out, being really rock solid and giving nothing away, because we haven't got the defenders.
No, you just hope that Lampard. Lampard is a ball winner. He'll know how to tackle this, and I think he'll draw more experience with Derby than Chelsea, because obviously he had 200 million to spend. So I think we've got enough in the tank to stay up. I really do. But it's got to be. We've just got to grind out this win tomorrow. Saturday.
Well, just before we touch on Lampard and Bielsa rivalry, in terms of the team selection, while we were just finishing that, if we do go with a back 5, you can only have 2 midfielders, I suppose. It doesn't really leave a bit of a space for Van der Beek. Would you go for Van der Beek over Gomez then, if you have to pick just 2?
Yeah. Gomez for me is too inconsistent. You get a good game out of him once at Blue Room, and he has a good game at Brentford.
Because they stood off him. They stood off him. Newcastle didn't give us a chance, to play through midfield. They pressed us really high. They were on our central midfield pairing really quickly, and ultimately we were outfought there. So I don't know whether Leeds are going to be quite like that. They will press really high. They will go at us. Not sure whether they'll. I think the difference is their Leeds team will leave space in behind and in front of their back 4. And I think what we have to do is potentially play Calvert-Lewin up there. So you've got that long ball, out ball if you need. If we can't play through from the back, which I imagine we'll try to, we still have that long ball option into Calvert-Lewin. And then I think the important thing there is if it's a 5-2-3, he's got Richarlison one side. And I imagine then Anthony Gordon, I think, edges it over Dele Alli and Townsend if Gray isn't fit, which fingers crossed he is. He'll have some support around him, Calvert-Lewin, and then you need runners, you need your fullbacks to go forward and to provide that width and the midfield. Everyone has to squeeze up and press. The concern is obviously the counter-attack, the quick transitions. Leeds are fast. Our defence, without Ben Godfrey, without Patterson, without Mikolenko, is really slow. You're talking about arguably the slowest.
This is what I don't get.
He's clearly not ready in the eyes of the managers or whatever.
Coleman was really poor. I mean, exceptionally poor at Newcastle. I would honestly, I'd give Patterson a start. in front of the home fans, he's going to get that confidence to play. I keep harping on about that goal he scored. He set up Dobbin, didn't score, so he set Dobbin up in the under-23s. It was great. I just don't see why he's not getting a chance.
Well, hopefully, if he's ready, this is an opportunity for him, a young player, come into the side and fresh legs. As I said before, potentially 5 at the back with Coleman right centre-back, Holgate left centre-back, Mikolenko and Patterson as the wing-backs, or probably John Joe Kenny knowing us, and Michael Keane, the main central defender. But I'm hoping you have the space for Calvert-Lewin and there's Van der Beek, and I'm sure Frank Lampard will find a way to get the best players on the pitch in the right way, to get through the Leeds press, to control the game, to dominate them, to stop the counter-attacks, which, hand on heart, I don't think we will. I think Leeds will run through our midfield very quickly, run past the likes of Michael Keane, and I think we'll concede on the counter-attack. I'm just being honest with you. But what I'm hoping is we'll find a way to really bypass the press into Calvert-Lewin, get players around him, swarm around Leeds and punish them and expose them for the frail side they are, albeit with a good... I think if we can hammer the defence and just shut up shop and stop them getting out and stop them breaking up the counter-attacks, a bit like we used to do under Moyes, we'd have everyone on the halfway line, Distan and Jagielka would be there, and we'd pin teams back and they wouldn't get a sniff. And they get snuffed out. We have to try and do that against these sides. But they're a good team. Obviously, they come back against Villa. And I'm going to go to some of the comments now. But before we do so, we will be live on Twitter Spaces at 9:30 for a little phone-in. So if you're on Twitter, @FollowEverton, you'll find us there. And be sure to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Of course, make sure you do subscribe and turn the notifications on. Close to 900 subs at the moment. So let's get over the line and get up to 900. That'd be fantastic. Lampard and Bielsa have got a bit of history, haven't they? Spygate. Bielsa sent a player to watch the Derby training. Do you think there'll be a bit of afters in this game? And I know Derby got the revenge in the end against Leeds in the playoff semi-final, I should say, when Lampard was Derby manager. But do you think, again, a little bit wary? I mean, you don't need a spy to watch Everton. You know what you're going to get. But But do you think no love lost between the pair?
No, absolutely not. And this is what I think I like about Lampard. He doesn't suffer fools gladly. Like some managers will must be all nice to them. Nah, he won't. He wears his heart on the sleeve. Like when you told Klopp to fuck off. Great. So what you like, a bit of passion, a bit of, you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully we can wipe the smirk off his face, Bielsa's face, the little crouching bastard, and squatting bastard, I should say. But let's be honest here. Leeds, a big club like Newcastle, but haven't really done an awful lot. Very similar, in my opinion. And I really hope we can get them right in the mix and send them down. That would be lovely. But I think the standard of the league is so strong that every team now, because they've got billionaire owners and a lot of money, they've got quality. I mean, Leeds quality players, Rafinha, Calvin Phillips. I'm not sure he's available, but I look through the team and I think quality. I look through every single side in that league, apart from arguably Norwich, who I don't think have got a lot on paper. Newcastle, I know they beat us, but I don't see an awful lot on paper there. I know games aren't won on paper, but I'd say the 17 teams they've got quality. I mean, look at Southampton beating Spurs away from home, and you'd say they were one of the worst teams, but anyone can beat anyone. The quality in the league, it's very difficult. We've got to take advantage of the home games. And Steve Ellie, a friend of the show, former Fans Forum member, was actually saying to me that bring your banners along on Saturday.
Absolutely. Part of the 27 campaign, and banners, scarves, and just make it noisy as hell. Absolutely. Please do that. I think get behind it. It's positive, you know what I mean? There's no negativity in it, it's positive. And it's, what? It is the Everton way. No, it's cop-out behaviour. It's not. It really isn't.
We need to make it absolute hell for Leeds, and we need every game is a cup final now. And honestly, 5 wins, we'll see us 5 wins, or 4 wins and 3 draws, I think will be enough for us. But then again, it's all down to the opposition as well. And I think we might have more success taking points off teams playing for nothing rather than top 4 and this relegation scrap, because we don't seem to have the fight there. We're we seem to get out battled and out fought. I really hope Ben Godfrey, Decore, and Yerry Mina aren't far off, but potentially another 3-4 weeks. So it is a concern. It is. We have to just scrape a win against Leeds. There's no margin for error, or at least don't get beat, because losing week in, week out is becoming a habit. It can't go on. And at some point, the penny's got to drop with them, or we will end up in the bottom 3, and then it will be panic stations. All hell will break loose. Let's go to the comments, Mabsy. Toothy saying, I want to hear that beautiful saxophone. I love it. It is me playing it. It's me playing that, actually. I don't think anyone ever knew that, but I'm the sax player doing the intro. Hear the team that did a beautiful football. Absolutely ripped it off from the famous Everton song, but as long as we don't get sued for copyright off that, I think the sax
stays.
And that stays. That's our theme tune. How do we exploit Leeds based on Villa? I think Leeds will show a lot of fight and desire. They'll be very quick in transition, very good movement up front. I think where you can get at them is they leave a lot of gaps in midfield. If you can play out quickly through them and around them, they seem to leave themselves a little bit exposed. I compare it to Liverpool in a way where Liverpool commit a lot of people forward and sometimes can get countered. But the reality is Liverpool have got amazing defenders 1v1. So it's Leeds don't have that. So that's where it's at, really. Getting at them quickly. Don't be afraid to do the long ball and win the knockdowns and play from there. But if we try and play out from the back with the 3 we've got all the time against a very high press, very mobile players, it scares me. I have to be honest. I know people don't want negativity and they want me to raise the spirits.
No, you've got to be realistic, though, because otherwise when you get accused of just burying your head in the sand, you can't do that. I think at the moment, people need to realise the position that we are in, and it's hard to be positive because very few at the moment. It's serious, but we do need. I can't stress him. Sorry.
The defense is poor, so I'm just being realistic here.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you got Mina's just how come he can play for Colombia, not a problem, doesn't get injured, comes back to Everton and he's got straw legs. All of a sudden, don't get it.
Something not quite right with injuries. I mean, I think that's for a separate time, but they really are getting too many muscular injuries through doing very little. I mean, it's not as if they're playing Champions League, FA Cup, then a football, then another game in the Prem, and it's just persistent muscular injuries doing very little, and it infuriates me, really. Is it prep? Is it the way the players protect their body? There's something not right. Blue Nose KD Dublin, a regular watcher. Hi, mate. Evening, gents. We're about keen. Shares the same sentiment as us, Mabs. Massive game, and I'd love a clean sheet. Would you?
You know what? I'm not even asked about a clean sheet. I know we should be. As long as we win, I don't care anymore. You know what? If we play the most ugliest football known to God,
so would you take? Would you rather go and set up really defensively, 2 banks of 4, play counter attack with our fastest players, and keep the spaces really tight and compact, or would you just say, I'll put my best attackers out and I'm going to try and outscore Leeds?
I think you need to outscore them because again, their defense is dodgy, like ours, isn't it? And I just think what,
like ours. Rose is saying Rafinha will be man of the match like last year, and this is what this is shared. Rafinha odds on to score for the 4th time against us. I mean, it's they're like their fans are loud, so we'll have a part to play. I mean, Evertonians are going to. We know we want to be angry, but I think a lot of that's aimed at Rafa Benitez, etc., and the board. But ultimately, we know we're not going to achieve anything if we go there and we're really hostile towards our own players for the results.
No, absolutely. We can't. We're not. We've got to be in a position now to get behind everyone, the players, and just get us just to survive this season. Now, that's all it's about.
Here's a comment from Westy. He's saying, fans want to get behind the boys on Saturday, so obviously sharing our sentiment. And we lacked. We've got to show what we lacked in the first half of the season. We've got to get behind the manager. We're suffering because the fans never took to Benitez. I mean, it's a knock-on effect, isn't it, really?
The fans fault, Dave. I think everyone tried to get behind him. It was always going to be that appointment that should never have been made. You know, we were telling the board that we didn't want him. Every fan got behind him, but the results weren't coming away. Brentford, you were there, Ryan. The away end. How bad was that at the end? And it wasn't to do with the fans. That was to do with the frustration of the players on the pitch at the end. I'm not going to sit here and blame any fan. It's not true. The fans did get behind him. It was just he had to go.
There are a lot of quality players at this club individually. The sum of the parts is worth less than the individuals. If we sold a lot of them, the Minas and the Godfreys and the Richarlisons, they'd be good in other teams. The problem is collectively as a group, none of them work. There's no chemistry. You were building an ultimate team on FIFA, you'd have 0 out of 100 because they don't gel. There's no plan. And that's what happens when you have different managers. There's no plan. There's no continuity. That has to come from director of football and the recruitment. Moving forward, we have to play the best players in a way that's going to get the best out of them. And I really struggle to see. Ultimately, you have to realize that some of them aren't actually what I've just described. A lot of them are individual quality and would do well at other clubs, bought for the right reasons. But ultimately, the likes of Michael Keane and Holgate, if at 5-6 managers you still can't get a tune out of them, they are not good. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm saying to you, hand on heart, Michael Keane, he is a lovely guy. I watched interviews with him. He seems genuine and down to earth, but he's got no pace. He's not aggressive. He's caught under the. He's not a good player. I can't suddenly make him good.
I'm not saying he's a good player, but the problem being is that the problem that we have is who wants them. Who wants these deadwoods? Because we certainly don't, and other teams obviously don't. We're the ones stuck with them.
Mabsy, just before we wrap things up and move over to you are right, by the way. Jeff saying Mean is a man mountain made of glass. I mean, I hope we do factor that in when we do the contract. And Dave saying we can't concede goals when you've got centre halves who won't put the bodies on the line to block shots. That's it. They don't block shots. They don't. They're not aggressive. They don't get their head in there. Look at Branthwaite and Michael Keane for that goal that they scored, and they're missing the header. And you just think, and Gomez as well, tracking. They were all. It was just inept defensively, and it's time and time again. It originally was just a few mistakes and set pieces, and now it's just general poor play. And again, you have to just say some of these players aren't up to it. Toothy saying, I want to see JPEG have a go at centre back. Potentially, yeah. I mean, he played there for mine, so potentially look at that. But I think he's way off it, really, way off the pace. He's nowhere near it, and Gomez has got to be dropped, and Branthwaite needs to play. That's Dave Weston. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Mabsy, on your prediction?
I don't. I think we'll win, but I don't know what the score is. I can't predict the score because I think it's going to be. What 5-3? Did you say?
Yeah.
It's going to be. I don't know. Let's see. I can't. I'm not going to have a prediction this game, but I think we will win.
I think we'll concede 2 or more goals, and I also think we'll score. But how many we'll score is going to be down to which Everton turns up on the day. I just see a very dynamic Leeds side that are good on the counter-attack, and they're good at what we are weak at, and that's the problem that worries me. But look, I hope under the Goodison atmosphere with the fans behind them, and Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff will help. I'm hoping, I don't know why you're smiling unless Leicester have scored. But
no, sorry, just reading the text, very random text I've got.
I'm hoping with the Goodison atmosphere on a Saturday at 3 o'clock with the fans behind them, I'm hoping we'll be able to get a tune out of the players. We'll be motivated and we'll really just dominate Leeds and stop them playing out and getting a sniff and just go and get the game won professionally. But, you know, this is Everton. We've won 1 game in 15. We've analysed it. We've looked at the opposition. We've talked about their strengths. We've looked at Everton and who we've got available and how we could line up and how we could combat it with a formation. So I think we've covered that quite well. I will say, though, we're going to be live on Twitter Spaces in about 10 minutes' time to take questions and a phone-in style, and that'll be running, I imagine, till sort of 10, half 10. So come and join us on there. And if you're new to the channel and you like our match preview for this match and all our other content, please subscribe down below. Mabsy, tell everyone to subscribe.
Subscribe, please.
It costs nothing. It just helps us out with the algorithm and everything, and makes it worthwhile that we're getting appreciated. So we'll see you soon, and hopefully a few of you will come over. Just very quickly, should we just answer this? What's available? Pickford, Coleman, Holgate, Keane, Mikolenko, Gordon, Allen, Gray, DCL, Ritchie. I'm not 100% sure, Stu, actually, that Gray is going to be available. I think he'll be on the bench. I think Mikolenko's got COVID or an inclusive test. So we'll have to see. But I look at that and I still think Coleman wasn't good.
Surely they've done another test by now.
They will have. Coleman, not good. Holgate wasn't good. Keane wasn't good. The three were terrible. Pickford was terrible. The four of them were awful against Newcastle. Mikolenko.
I don't know why everyone's going with Coleman. I just think Coleman needs to start slowing down a bit.
Yeah,
his legs have gone
out. But even then, I look at that Andy and I see Allen, and I think he can't run, and he's going to get bypassed. Him and Gomez would get bypassed by the Leeds players. We need Godfrey. We need Decore. Massive misses in that game. Thanks, Stu. Right, join us over on Twitter. Hit that like button for us and make sure you subscribe. Thanks.